Alright. Hey guys, what's up? It's Kyle here. Sorry, my hair is like really wet and finished. I was washing my hair. Sorry if there's too much TMI for you. Too bad. Anyway, this is a video game review. Request of Eagle Stir. Wants to know, and I'm going to do the other review, but I'm going to do the one here on Asura's Wrath. If you looked at my update pickup, video game pickup, which was before this video, I showed you more in detail the case and what it looks like, so I just showed it anyway. So this is a review on Asura's Wrath. Asura's Wrath. Now, Eagle Stir had said that he's never heard of Asura's Wrath, which is rightfully so. That pretty much nobody's ever heard, or too many people have heard of Asura's Wrath. Despite the fact that this game has been made by Capcom and CyberConnect, which are two big game developing corporations, Capcom especially, the market for this game has been piss poor. So rightfully so that a lot of people would not know about it, because like I said, it's just been piss poor, at least for over here, overseas in the States. In Japan, it's done really well. But anyway, Asura's Wrath is one game I've been waiting for a long time, since late last year. The game has been out since February, and like I said, because Capcom, the advertising for this game has been piss poor, I completely forgot about this game when it came out in February. Picked it up pre-owned for $34, $35, and I have to say, Asura's Wrath is a pretty good game. But it's one of those kind of games that's really not meant for everybody. Asura's Wrath, the story starts as you play as this guy named Asura, and you're one of the 8 guardian gods. The 7 guardian gods betrayed you and framed you for a crime that you did not commit. So they framed you for a crime you couldn't commit, that you didn't commit, and they cast you down to Earth. And on top of that, they've killed your wife and kidnapped your daughter, who has like special powers. So because of that, you're Asura, and you're pissed off that your wife was murdered, and you were betrayed by your brethren. Your daughter was kidnapped, and you were framed for a crime you didn't commit. So Asura is one pissed off god, which is rightfully so. And he goes intangible to get his revenge. Now, this game has multiple kind of combat styles. It's on-screen button play, meaning where it's quick time action play, meaning where if a button pops on the screen, you have to press the button at the exact time to execute a move correctly in order for it to cut into the next action scene. Asura's Wrath is a mixture of, how should I say, Japanese anime folklore mythology mixed with science fiction. The graphics here are pretty nice. I will say this: the graphics visually for the game, when it comes to the movie scenes and cutscenes, and even the character detail for the main characters, is pretty good. However, when it comes to the graphics in terms of the landscape, it's a little bit poor with the land development when you're walking up, when you're like in certain settings in the land. It's a bit poor, and the character development for some of the minor grunts, like the enemies that aren't really that strong, just the minor grunts. The animation for the scenery and the melee opponents could use more detail and more updated animation, more so than Asura and majority of the main characters in the game. So it's like the main characters in the game have phenomenal visual graphics, but everything else in terms of the landscape and melee characters kind of lack a little bit in comparison. But that's not too much of a bad thing to take away from the game. Visually, the game is a work of art. Because it is a story that's being played out, it plays off like an anime. So it's like episode 1. Once you beat the first episode, it'll say to be continued, and once you go on to the next chapter, once you put into the next thing, the next chapter, it gives you a narrator will give you like a briefing on what happened on the previous episode that you just passed and beat going into the next. So it makes you really feel like you're watching a TV show. The combat is really simple because, like I said, you play in three different ways. You play the basic combat, which is pretty easy, smash them up. You have quick time play where you have to execute and press the button at the exact same time that the button that's displayed on screen. And then thirdly, you also have like it's kind of like a shooting type of game as well, because you would have certain enemies that you would have to aim and shoot and stuff at the sky. So, which I can't really go into details. How can I explain that? But it has multiple game play incorporated into this, multiple control combat. That's the word I'm looking for. Multiple control combat and controlling the character in the game, which is pretty nice. It takes some stuff from various games in terms of like action play. Now, because of this, the action is somewhat kind of a little bit limited because, like I said, it's just a big story that's being played through, but because it's such an interesting story that's being played through, you don't want to put your controller down for a second, because when you're in a cutscene or a movie scene, the quick time smash button may pop up immediately on the screen and you have to execute it right away. So even when you're watching the cutscenes and seeing the story progress, you don't want to put the controller down because they just might have you do something. So yeah, but even that, all that being said, beating up and destroying 60-foot tall gods and just beating the hell out of them and blasting them out of the earth and into the stratosphere of the galaxy. It's some pretty cool combat and visually it's just beautiful, and the combat is pretty smooth and pretty epic. Like I said, when you fighting the melee opponents is kind of like, okay, cool, but like once you battle with the bigger bosses, it's like a freaking epic battle. I mean, like I said, you're fighting 60-foot tall gods and just obliterating them by knocking them literally off the planet's atmosphere and into outer space. I mean, just freaking awesome combats there. So for that being said, Asura's Wrath I think it's a pretty good game. I've been wanting it for a long time, like I said, because the advertisement for this game has been piss poor. I completely forgot about it, but because the game's been out for about 4 months now, you can easily find it at your local GameStop for about $35, $31 if you have a pro membership card. So I think it's worth $30. It might not be worth the $60 price for a lot of people, but if you can find it for $34, $35 used at GameStop, I say it's worth that. I say it's worth that price. But it's not bad. It's still a good game. I say I rate Asura's Wrath a 8.5 out of 10. It's one of those games probably not meant for everybody. If you like Japanese anime with a good story, some people may consider it to be kind of similar to God of War, but that's the only uniqueness to it, to kind of separate it from the God of War story a little bit. But if you like, fantastic, good visuals, the anime kind of style, which I really enjoy, then I say Asura's Wrath is worth it. And like I said, try to find it if you can for $35. I mean, the game's not bad, but I won't say it's worth the $60 price. But it's still a good game. I'm not knocking this game. I just don't think it's worth the $60 price. But it is worth the $35 to $31 price. Or you can rent it just to see how you like it. Better yet, download the demo, because they do have the demo for this game available on Xbox Live and PlayStation Network. Download the demo, and if you play the demo like I did, then it will make you want to go get this game. And like I said, if you want to get it for that used pre-owned price. I think it's worth it. So I give Asura's Wrath an 8.5 out of 10. Let me know what you guys think in the comment box below. Peace.